All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Okay, guys, so we had an important FOMC meeting today. Jerome Powell came out pretty hawkish and talked about lower job expectations along with higher inflation or prolonged inflation because of tariffs. And we did have kind of a bearish reaction to that. But before the news meeting even started, really yesterday, we started to see Bitcoin dump and we lost our key golden pocket around 112.3. If any of you guys were around during yesterday's live stream, we caught that live. And because we did hit that golden pocket from our potential multiple 1-2 impulse, this golden pocket here around 112K, it did invalidate the bullish impulse to the upside from last Wednesday's lows, from a week ago's lows. So this can no longer be classified as an impulse to the upside. And we are dumping. You can see we did have a small bounce from that golden pocket, but I did say in the live stream, even if we bounce from that golden pocket, I expect a lower high and for new lows to continue. Now, this morning in the Telegram, I posted because what happened before the FOMC meeting, we had lost the pitchfork and we were coming up to bearishly backtest that pitchfork. And I did warn in the meeting, guys, this is the bearish backtest of the pitchfork. If we fail, we're going to make new lows for the day. And we did fail that backtest, and we did come down and make new lows during the FOMC meeting, really during Jerome Powell's speech. And you can see after making the lows for the day so far, we now have come up and backtest not only the VWAP, but that pitchfork a second time, and we are rejecting currently a second time from the pitchfork. So this to me is kind of a bearish sign, and it does suggest that we are going to get that drop to our box of support that I've laid out all week long that we've been looking at as really the only support level for Bitcoin that I'm interested in potentially taking along from. So yeah, Bitcoin continues to drop here. A little bit of bearish signs with the FOMC today. If we zoom in on the 15-minute chart, you can see the two really nice rejections. So we lost the pitchfork, bearish backtest, rejected, got new lows. After making those new lows with the volatility of the FOMC meeting, we come back up again, reject from the VWAP in confluence with that pitchfork again, and now we are starting to drop here. So I am looking personally for Bitcoin to come a little bit lower. I would like for Bitcoin to come into our box of support, which is our more macro golden pocket. So if we pull a golden pocket, a Fibonacci golden pocket from the lows at 103.5 to our highs that we rejected from on Monday, you can see the golden pocket is coming in around 108.4 to about 108K. But if you see the box extends a little bit past that because we do have a fresh daily level down at 107,585. So, and I guess the value area low, if we look at our range, let me zoom out onto the 4-hour chart. And I showed this in the live stream the other day. But if we look at a range, so really we had a couple of different ranges that we're developing. We had this bottoming range here that was lasting about a month, 2 months, a month and a half or so. We broke out of that range. We made new all-time highs multiple times. But once we broke out of that range, we established another range up here. And once we lost that range, we came back inside of this first original range with this low price action that we saw the last couple of weeks. So because of that, now we can look at maybe combining these ranges just from the ending of this impulse. We had an impulse up here from 74K all the way up to about 112K, 113K there. After that impulse ended, we can now look, let me turn off these daily levels. I'm sorry about that. We can now look at combining this price action to make one range within here. And if we look at this sideways range in this price action, I showed this on the stream yesterday, but if we look at that price action, you can see that our value area low is being respected here from this range, and that value area low is coming in at the bottom of the box. And then we have, of course, the daily level just below that. And I would actually extend this box all the way down to our anchored VWAP, our very key anchored VWAP from the 74K lows. So yes, it is a bit of a big range from about 108.4 to about 107.6, about an $800 range, 107.6 here. But this is primarily the support that if we're going to want to see Bitcoin make an overall higher low and continue this bullish price action and come up to 117K, then we really need this support level down here to hold, where the value area low, a daily, and a golden pocket is. And that is what I suspect that Bitcoin is now going to continue to drop to. If we look on this 4-hour time frame, you can see that we still do have money flow coming out pretty aggressively, both on Market Cipher B and on NAMI. And we are not really seeing any bull divs. Let's actually zoom in here to see if we can see some lower time frame bull divs. Let's go on to the hourly chart. No bull divs on the hourly unless we can take out the low that we made earlier today into that golden pocket. So if we continue to drop into this golden pocket, we might be able to see some bull divs form on the chart here. And NAMI is already starting to set up for some bull divs. You can see we had some very slight bull divs in here earlier today. But if we can get one more drop into that support level, remember, we want to look for bull divs into support. And we haven't quite reached support yet. So we could be setting up for a nice little long position from this support, even if it's going to make a higher low or a lower high, excuse me, even if we're going to make a lower high and reject from those anchored VWAPs and continue dropping to take out the lows, we might be able to get a scalp long position from this support level of the green box below. Other than that, really not too much else is happening for Bitcoin. If we go ahead and turn off that bigger range and we look at the range since the crash ended, this range here, you can see that Bitcoin has lost the point of control of the range now, and we did bounce from the value area low today during the crash. And in a bullish scenario, there is an example of a sort of Model 2 accumulation, or what we would call like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. So you can see we got our, at least on Coinbase, our initial low of the crash around 107K. Then we made that was our tap one or our left shoulder. Then we got our new low, which could be your head or your tap two. And if we do come down to this golden pocket and VWAP area and bounce from this VWAP area, that could be your tap three of the Model 2 accumulation, or the right shoulder of an inverse head and shoulders, that nice bottoming pattern that we often see. And we could start to impulse up out of there. But what we would want to see an impulse coming up from this support level. We'd want to see some pretty bullish impulsive price action coming up from bouncing from that support level. So that is, if you got your bull glasses on and you want to see a bullish scenario play out, that's kind of what we're looking at as a bullish scenario. But other than that, really, I'm just playing the range since the crash ended, that range that I just had on the chart here, where we do have the value area low where we bounced from earlier today. Today's lows bounced from that value area low. And I do think it is acceptable to wick past that value area low for a bit to hit into the bigger value area low or that anchored VWAP, and then reclaim this value area low of the local range and start to push up. But we want to see bullish price action out of this bounce here from this level. Other than that, there's not too much to update on Bitcoin. We have been dropping today so far, and really because we have overlap within this drop, if we look at this drop, first of all, the very start of the drop does look more like a three-wave corrective move, so we cannot really call that a wave one to the downside and an impulse to the downside. But also, if we're looking at this as potentially a wave one, a wave two, this cannot be a third wave, because you can see your third wave retraces high enough where there's overlap in between. Let me get a horizontal ray here. We do have overlap in between your wave one lows and your wave four highs, if this was going to be a wave four correction. So instead, we actually have to go with a more bearish scenario, with this being a possible double 1-2, a 1-2, 1-2, and we could be in a third wave bouncing 4-5, 4-5. We might be in a double 1-2 impulse to the downside, which is not necessarily what you want to see here. And if we are even looking at that, we could say this is a 1-2, 1-2. This big push down was a 3. This bounce that we saw up to the pitchfork was a 4. We could be looking for a 5, 4, 5 to end that impulse to the downside at our support level. But either way, even if you're not sure of your Elliott counts here, what I would say is our support level, our big support level, is still below. And with the lack of bull divs that we're seeing on the chart, I do think we might be able to see a drop to that area. You can see also on the 15-minute chart, if we do get one more drop to make a new low into our golden pocket, we could be setting up for some nice bull divs as well on the 15-minute, some bull divs on the 15-minute. And by then, hopefully we see our money flow bottoming out and starting to rise to the upside. So that is kind of what I'm looking at for today with Bitcoin and going into tomorrow. Let's zoom out onto the hourly chart. And what I will say, let me just clean this chart up just a second here. We do have a couple naked daily points of controls, a couple new naked daily points of controls that we have to look at. So the close is happened 6 minutes ago. So we do have a new naked daily point of control just above us at about 111.2K. And then, of course, we have a naked daily point of control from the day before, closing at about 113,900-ish, where we see that we have some internal highs right before today's dump, resting into those two key anchored VWAPs. And now with those two key anchored VWAPs there and a naked daily point of control, this could be acting as a support, a local resistance level, where if we do come up there, we could get that rejection and continue to work our way down to take out the lows. So I would definitely be aware of that 113.9 area of resistance. But other than that, guys, there's not too much going on. If we look at our local liquidation heat map, you can see this is the Model 2 heat map, just the last 24 hours of price action. If you look at where the liquidity ends, it's pretty much resting right up into that area as well. About here, 113.9 to about 114K just above. And if we look at that local liquidity, it's resting right up into that 114K. So we do have some liquidity very close by that we could come grab that would maybe give us a reversal once we grab that liquidity. And then if we look at our Model 3 heat map, you can see that that liquidity is also resting right above those internal highs. Right above those internal highs. So makes sense that if we do get a bounce from our golden pocket, then that could be definitely an area where you look for a liquidity grab of these internal highs here and then a continuation to the downside. If we look at our order flow charts, go on to our CVD and open interest here. Let me zoom out to the 15-minute chart, and we'll look at this 15-minute chart. We are continuing to see some bearish CVD divergences happen here. And actually, it's bearish CVD absorption because first, we are dropping, making lower lows and lower highs on the price action throughout the day. So lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Are we going to see a lower low right now coming in? But as we are making lower lows and lower highs on the price action, you can see our CVD is climbing here, making higher highs here. And what that is signaling is bullish CVD divergence. But from yesterday's crash that happened during the live stream, you saw a huge drop in open interest. And remember, guys, I've been talking about this all week, but we were building bullish CVD absorption, but it wasn't the cleanest looking because of our big drops in the open interest. When we see these giant drops, prolonged drops in open interest, like we were seeing throughout this bullish CVD absorption building, it makes it less likely for that overall bullish CVD absorption to play out. And we are seeing that fail. So that bullish CVD absorption, because of those drops in open interest, it was less likely to play out. It did play out less likely. And now if we look locally here from today's price action, really starting from yesterday, you can see we are building, and especially today, though, I would say, we are building bearish CVD absorption here, where we are making lower highs on the charts here, on the price action. We are making higher highs on the CVD, and at least from the lows from yesterday, our open interest is steadily increasing here, and we are continuing to build bearish CVD absorption, which absorption is a much better signal than just bearish CVD divergence. So be aware, it does look like Bitcoin is going to continue dropping here, at least locally. I think we could see a drop down to that golden pocket, or potentially even just a little bit lower to the daily level around 107,600, where that daily level is. But this is kind of what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. And if we do not bounce from this area of support, I do think we will continue to grind down to take out our lows at 103.5 and potentially even come much, much lower to 96.5. We do have some liquidity resting around 98K that we can be looking at. But I do think this larger downtrend will continue of making big lows, lower highs, lower lows, Now, this was a higher high technically, but I think we can still continue to make lower lows because it was just a liquidity grab. It wasn't a very clean break in market structure. And if you're bullish, you really do want to see this inverse head and shoulders play out here where we could shoot up. And if we just look at, let's just take a rough estimate of the price action, the target of that inverse head and shoulder. So I'm just bringing it from the lows up to the pitchfork band. That's about where your neckline is, and I'll put it to the top of the pitchfork band. So that's about where your neckline would be for this head and shoulders, this inverse head and shoulders. And if we put that on the breakout of the inverse head and shoulders, you could see that it would bring us to new all-time highs. And by the time we get up to this target, our pitchfork band could be in alignment because it's not going to go straight up like this. If we do bounce, we're probably going to see some rejection, some chop in here, maybe a rejection from the POC, another drop, maybe rejection here. And then by the time we get up to that area, you can see the target of that inverse head and shoulders would be right where your upper band is here. And that is the bullish case scenario. And that would be a new all-time high, of course, right around 129, 230K. We'll keep an eye on that as the more data develops, as the price action plays out. But this is our two scenarios that we're watching for. So if we want to remain bullish, this support box below really does need to hold. If it doesn't hold, I do think we are coming down much lower. But that's about it for Bitcoin for today. Other than that, not too much to talk about. We are dropping here, and we are seeing bearish CVD absorption locally. So I do think we will continue to drop at least to our support level below. Now, moving on, before we move on to Ethereum and to some of the altcoins, I just want to take a second to shout out the partners of the channel. We do have BYDFI. They are the main partner of the channel. They are a VPN and KYC free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using my affiliate link in the description, you will get a minimum of 20% discounts on trading fees, and you can actually earn up to 40% discounts on trading fees if you deposit some of the larger amounts into the exchange. They're offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you trade in the futures markets. And they're offering some of the best initial deposit bonuses in the game. For example, if you deposit just $100 in the exchange, you can get a 50% deposit bonus. And then they're offering various 10 to 20% deposit bonuses, depending on how much you deposit. I have also partnered with BYDFI to create a Telegram community where I do post my market analysis, my thoughts on the market throughout the day, and some trade setups ahead of time. So if you're interested in joining that Telegram, then all you need to do, it's free to sign up. You just need to sign up with BYDFI using my affiliate link and deposit at least $100 into the exchange. That $100 is your money to trade with. You will get the discounts on the trading fees, and you will get the bonus. And then once you do that, you can get access to the Telegram group. All you have to do is click the Telegram link in the description of this video. And once you are in that Telegram, type in /verify and then your user ID, which will be probably a string of letters and numbers up here. And that'll get you access to the Telegram community. The second partner of the channel is NAMI Trading. And NAMI is a momentum and money flow indicator. That's this bottom indicator down here. And I use this indicator for entry and exit confirmations on trades. As I'm coming down to support, I want to see bull divs coming in on the chart in order to execute and actually take a trade from this area. If I'm not seeing my confirmations, I will not take the trade, and I will wait for maybe a failed trade and down to the next level. And hopefully by then we'll be seeing some bull divs on the chart. So if you're interested in NAMI, they are doing a 50% off if 50% off purchase if you use my affiliate link in the description of this video. And the discount code is Divine50. That's also in the description of this video. And I suggest you grab that while that's still available, because I do not know how much longer that's going to be running. And then lastly, we do have Bybit and MEXC, both great reputable exchanges with low fees and futures trading bonuses as well. So if you'd like to sign up with either of those exchanges using my affiliate link, it's a great way to help out the channel. Also, please hit the like button if you do get any sort of insight into the market from this video today. And now we can go ahead and go on to some of the altcoins. So with Ethereum, we're just kind of continuing to chop here, guys, as well. We did reject earlier today from a local gold. Actually, no, excuse me. That's not the golden pocket I was looking at. We did reject earlier today. We just continue to make lower lows and lower highs on this local price action. Let me zoom into the 1 hour chart here. Continuing to make lower lows and lower highs. But the one thing that I talked about in the stream yesterday is the potentials for bearish double 1-2s, a 1-2, 1-2. This could be your third wave, a 4-5, and then we could be looking for one more 4-5 to come down to our support box that we talked about in yesterday's live stream. And in yesterday's live stream, I said really the only support level that I'm really interested in longing Ethereum at is this 786, this macro 786 Fibonacci, pulled from the lows here to the highs. And it's also your pitchfork band there, the top of your pitchfork band. And there was also I believe there was a naked daily point of control down there. Let's see, was it? Or a daily level, excuse me. It was a daily level down there as well at 3,800. So that is the area of support that I'm looking for Ethereum to come down to. You can see Ethereum is not really seeing any bull divs, at least on the 1 hour chart. Nami is potentially developing some. If we do make new lows here into that support level, Nami will be building those bull divs, but we are not yet until we make another low. And we want to really see Market Cypher be making some bull divs as well, or at least that money flow starting to bottom out on the 1 hour. But for me, I am still looking for a little bit lower on Ethereum to come down to that $3,800 level. And if that $3,800 level does not hold, then we could see a drop down to take out the liquidity of our lows here at 36.73, or even, as I've been saying all week in the videos and in the live streams, we might be able to see a double bottom of our crash lows on Coinbase around $3,500, where we do have that weekly level. Let me turn off the dailies. We have a weekly level and a naked daily point of control down there between a 34.97 and 34.89. So if this doesn't hold, or if we just get a little bounce and then break through, we could get some little minor liquidity grabs and come down to this area where we could see a swing failure pattern of the major crash low into that weekly and into that naked daily, and hopefully then see that big reversal that we're looking for our fifth wave of the macro Elliott impulse that we've been seeing since April. But other than that, I'm not looking at too much on Ethereum. I mean, we can look at our range, just like Bitcoin. After the crash ended, we're starting to develop a sideways range, this sideways range here. And you could just play the range until it breaks. Now, you can see that as our range has been developing here, let me turn off some of these levels. As our range has been developing here, our value area low is moving up, and you can see that value area low of the current range is just below our support box. So if we do see a wick past that support box to hit the value area low and then just really close the candle body at or above our $3,800 mark, that would be nice for a local scalp long opportunity that could turn into a bigger trade. But for now, that's what I'm looking at. And then with our levels above, we do have that weekly level coming in around 39.84. Let me just double check to make sure that's okay. That weekly level was actually bust through today. That did not hold as support. So no reaction at the weekly level. And let's see if there was any daily levels there. Yeah, no daily. So I would just say, really, it looks like we are going to drop to that $3,800 level, where if we can hold that, we might be able to get a nice big push up, or at least a scalp long opportunity. Other than that, I'm not looking really at too much on Ethereum. And of course, we did just close the daily. We just had our daily market close, so we do have a new naked daily point of control. And let's let that load up here. The new naked daily point of control is going to be at our range point of control that is going to be coming in right at that 39.90, let's say 39.90-ish mark, where your range point of control is. And so that could be a nice little, if we do continue to drop here on Ethereum down to our box of support and we bounce from this area, a TP1 for me would be that naked daily point of control in confluence with the range point of control, where we did have that weekly level that, of course, we've already touched it and we already broke through it, but there was no reaction on the breakthrough. So sometimes it will still act as resistance now on the if we do see a scalp long opportunity from our support box. That is really all that I'm looking at on Ethereum. Now, if we do not hold this support level, I do think we are going to continue to push down to take the liquidity, not of this higher low here from Friday or from Wednesday, not the Wednesday low, but I do think we will continue to drop to take out our Friday, October 17th low at about 36.73. And we might be able to see a liquidity grab just to back test that value area low and then come down to that $3,500 mark. So we'll keep an eye on that as the price action develops too. I'm going to try to keep you guys updated in the Telegram. And of course, if you have any questions on any of these altcoins and you are in that Telegram, just post it in the general chat and tag me, and I will definitely try to keep you updated on my thoughts there. Next, let's go on to Solana here. Solana is continuing to kind of just chop, and we are around our point of control of our range since the crash as well. So a lot of these coins are forming sideways ranges since the crash. And in yesterday's live stream, I talked about the level that I'm really looking at as support is just below as well. It's between 188 and 187, where we do have that golden pocket. And we did see a bounce earlier today from touching the pitchfork band, but we are continuing to make lower lows and lower highs very locally. Low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So are we going to make one more lower low into that golden pocket? A lot of these coins are getting close to support levels, and we want to see some bull divs coming in as we're touching those support levels. Otherwise, I do think we are going to continue dropping. Let's check out the new naked daily point of control here on Solana. Yeah, just we closed the naked daily point of control about 22 minutes ago, just above us, about 195.5-ish, let's say 195.5. Not too meaningful there, but we could get a small rise to backtest that before dropping down to this golden pocket. I do expect Solana to keep dropping, especially if Bitcoin and Ethereum keep dropping, the market keeps dropping here. I do expect Solana to keep dropping. Now, I will say this, on this dump so far, Solana is holding up a little bit better than some of the other coins, and like Bitcoin, it's holding up a little bit better. We do have the potential for some nice bull divs. If we come down to that golden pocket here, you could see some lower lows on the price action, and this would most likely create a higher low momentum wave. And also, Nami is setting up nicely for some bull divs here as well. So if we do see those bull divs into that golden pocket, it might be worth a long opportunity. But other than that, that's the only support level I'm looking. If we do lose that golden pocket, we do have some support below as well. First of all, let me turn on the 786 is going to be right at the value area low. And we do know that altcoins often will drop. If Bitcoin bounces from a golden pocket, altcoins will tend to drop to the 786 and bounce from the 786. So at 183.25, we have our value area low of our range in confluence with that 786. But just below, you can see I have another box of support where we do have that daily level. And we have a daily level, and I believe it was a naked daily point of control. Let's see. Or was that the weekly level? No, we do have that weekly level. That's right. The weekly level was at the golden pocket. So that's why I'm looking at this golden pocket primarily, because we also have our weekly level of confluence there. But we'll see how it plays out. If we lose that, we'll be looking down to 183, nothing in between. Even though there's our pitchfork band in between, I would be looking for a wick past that pitchfork band to bounce and then reclaim right away. And it just looks like we are going to continue pushing down here on Solana, on some of the altcoins. And we could be looking at all of this as some 1-2s in here. You have your big third wave, and then maybe we retraced too high for a fourth wave. So that count's actually been invalidated since we had that push up today on Solana. overall, I would just say we're in bearish price action, making lower lows and lower highs. And so I would expect to continue this trend of making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs until we come down to our actual nice support level, being that golden pocket and weekly level. And other than that, guys, I mean, like if we zoom out onto some of the higher time frames, onto the daily time frame, our money flow still has been draining out, and we did have those. Let me turn this off. Our money flow is still draining out here, and we do have, as this range has been developing, or as this kind of sideways range in here has been developing, you can see that we do have the bear divs on the daily time frame, and money flow has been draining out as the range has been forming. And this to me is somewhat of a sign that this could be a bigger distribution to the downside. So one of the things that I am worried about is if we do lose the bottom of this pitchfork coming in around $170 to about $175, depending on how long it takes to get down there, we could see a drop all the way down to $123, $124, where our macro value area high is, or value area low, excuse me. We have a monthly level, and we have a log golden pocket, and then we have a bearish pitchfork band of a different pitchfork, not this pitchfork. So that is in the very bearish scenario of distribution from this upper range here, and we still have some time in order to see if that's going to play out or not. And I will keep you updated on my thoughts on that in the Telegram and during the live streams and videos. Okay, on to SUI. Let me turn off some of the levels here. And let's zoom into the hourly chart. So on SUI, we're coming into that golden pocket. And yesterday we did talk about on the live stream how that golden pocket was in confluence with the bottom of the pitchfork band. We are attempting to hold this now. You can see we've hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. We've really hit this golden pocket 5 times. And we did get a nice bounce the second time we hit the golden pocket, but I don't like how this looks like a 3-wave corrective move in here. And now we are kind of dropping down to this golden pocket again. So if we do lose this support that we're at pretty much right now with the range point of control, the golden pocket, and your pitchfork band, all in this general area of support that we're at right now, I think we're going to get a flush down to our next box of support, where we do have a naked weekly point of control, a point of control of our large range, which goes back about a year. If we turn on that larger range, let's see, is that the right volume profile? No. Okay, let's turn that volume profile on. Okay, I guess it's not this larger volume profile. Let me check that out. That might be a naked daily point of control, actually. I might have mislabeled that. Yeah, that's the naked daily point of control there. So it was the naked daily point of control. We have our naked weekly, naked daily, a value area low, swing failure pattern, and a daily all in this area. And you can see it would be a swing failure pattern of this low right in here. And it's the value area low of our range since our crash. Now, we would have to wick past that value area low to either hit the naked daily or to grab the liquidity, but we would want to see something very similar, like I explained in yesterday's live stream, something very similar to this, where we get the wick down below, but the candle body closes at the value area low in here. And so that's what we would want to see in the scenario that we do lose our golden pocket support right now. And in terms of volume profile trading, if we do lose this point of control, we can expect to move down to the value area low. No bull divs on the chart right now. 4 hour showing no bull divs. If we go onto our 1 hour chart, 1 hour is money flows kind of leaving the asset again. We did print some bear divs earlier today on NAMI. You can see here higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum waves, and we are not seeing any bull divs developing on the charts here. So yeah, I do think that this kind of depends for Sui on if Bitcoin is going to have a quick drop to that golden pocket and bounce. But if Sui can kind of chop around here for a bit longer while Bitcoin sees a little bit of a drop, then I think this golden pocket could hold. But if not, I do think we're going to see a pretty quick flush down to our next box of support. And if you guys want more in-depth analysis on Sui, I covered it in yesterday's live stream. Next, let's move on to Say. Say did reject earlier today. So we got a nice little bounce from Say during the FOMC volatility. You can see this kind of area right in here with the big candles, the big push to the upside, rejected. So we got a push to the upside. Let me go actually zoom in onto the 15-minute chart. Once the FOMC meeting started, you can see right here, we got a nice push to the upside. We rejected perfect from our pitchfork midline. We got a drop down to take out the liquidity of the lows right before the FOMC meeting. Then we got to push up again to backtest that midline, and we really cannot break it. As of now, we cannot break that midline. But we're kind of pushing up again here. We're attempting to, and money flow looks a lot better on Say than a lot of the other coins. I would say this, until we can break above that midline and start to close like hourly candles above that midline, it is currently rejecting us. And we could see another touch of that, another test of that area there, and then a drop. And if we do start to drop and lose the midline, I mean, we can pull our golden pocket from the range lows up to our highs from Sunday. And I would honestly be looking at, well, both the golden pocket and the 786 look kind of nice because we do have some internal liquidity into our golden pocket. You can see from this little mini crash here, internal liquidity into a golden pocket. And anytime you have a liquidity grab into a golden pocket, that could at least give you some sort of scalp trade. But the bigger support level to me would be the 786 at the value area low. Because if you do lose your POC, you do have a high probability of coming down to rotate and fill that volume profile. Reject value area high. If you lose this POC here, then you have a high probability to come down to that value area low. And if we look at our naked daily points of controls within this range, let's let this load up. Okay, yeah, we do have that naked daily point of control just below the golden pocket. I don't like how it's in between that golden pocket and that 786, but you might be able to see a bounce from that area. And of course, the naked daily point of control that just closed today is below us right at our range point of control. And once again, this general support level would need to hold of the point of control. What I would say here with Say is we had the harsh rejection from the pitchfork midline. We had our rejection from the pitchfork midline after losing it. We attempted to get above it. We saw a bit of a failed auction above that pitchfork midline. And until we can reclaim that pitchfork midline, I do think we are going to continue to drop at least down to your golden pocket area. So we want to see us reclaim that pitchfork midline as soon as possible, which is going to be around 20 cents, 20.1, 20.2. Excuse me, 0.201, 0.202. And if not, we could see drop down to this 18.5. On the larger time frames here, let's go zoom out onto the daily time frame. Yeah, you know, once you zoom out to the daily time frame, you get that good look. Let me just hide some of this in here. You get that really good look about how now, after rejecting, and I talked about this in yesterday's live stream. First of all, we bounced from the bottom of the pitchfork, got to move up to your pitchfork midline, had a harsh rejection from the pitchfork midline, came back to backtest the lower band. Backtested the lower band, held it as support. We pushed up through the midline, immediately backtested that midline, which was also the value area high of this accumulation range. And then we shot up to the top of the pitchfork band. Rejected the top of the band, rejected the top of the band, rejected the top of the band twice. And here, after multiple rejections at the top of the band, you lost the band and you bearishly backtested the bottom of the band. And we had multiple low time frame rejections at the bottom of the band. Now we're attempting to lose the midline. And if we cannot get back above this midline, we could see a drop all the way. Well, we do have a daily level below our liquidity from the crash lows, where we might see a nice bounce. But in a bearish scenario, we might continue all the way back down to the bottom band again. And we'll just have to see how this plays out as the data develops. It would be nice to drop to that daily level and get a bounce, grab that liquidity from the crash lows, and that would give us some nice daily bull divs on the chart if we can see that in the next week. So I will definitely be paying attention to that daily level. And actually what I'm going to do right now is just put an alert here on that daily level. And we'll do long if divs. We'll long that if we have some bull divs coming down into that daily level, grabbing that liquidity. Okay, that's it for say. Let's go into XRP. Now, XRP, let me turn off some of these levels. XRP is still in the process of backtesting our value area high of our local range. You can see this is our local range on XRP. And let me turn off our large range. And we did come down to our support level that we were looking at in yesterday's live stream here. Came down to our support level. We're at our support right now. It doesn't look too hot, though. It doesn't look too hot as far as our money flow goes. You can see as we were coming up here, we were developing those really big bear divs, and money flow is still continuing to drain out of the asset and is actually about to cross over into the red here. NAMI is already into the red and still draining out. So I do think that if we lose our support level that we are at right now, we could see a drop down to our next major support level being the weekly level, the macro POC. It's also our range POC. Let me fix that. Range POC and the naked weekly POC. So we have a lot of support, a volume support down here, along with a weekly time frame support level. And that's going to be between 240 and like 239, let's say. 246.8 and 239. And if we zoom out onto the higher time frames, you can see that within this move, there is really no order blocks or nothing to support us up. So if we lose our little support that we're at right now, we could see a quick move down to that point of control, range point of control. And then if we turn on our macro range point of control, our large range, you can see that large range point of control is there as well. Now, if we can hold the support that we are at right now, let me zoom back in onto the hourly chart. And what we need to do is we need to get back above the value area high of our local range since the crash ended. We need to get back above the value area high, and that's also our anchored VWAPs. Both our anchored VWAPs are also in that general area. And if we can get back above the value area high, then I do think we can come up to that 280. And actually, we have at about 281. Let me just put on the Coinbase chart. At about 281, we do have that resistance of a naked daily point of control. We have our 786 up here at 281. We have our value area high of a larger range. And we do have the top of our descending channel that's coming up here between 281 and 288. So that's what I'd be interested in with XRP if we can continue up there. One thing I would say about XRP is not from our crash lows, but from our secondary lows here from Friday, October 17th. This does tend to look a little bit more bullish with a potential 5-wave impulse to the upside. A wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. We could be in a wave 4 retrace before seeing a 5th wave to the top of the channel after bouncing from the bottom of the channel. Before we do that real quick, let's just check our trend-based Fibonacci extinction. So let's go from the lows of the move to our low. And let's turn on our correction targets. Okay. Yeah, so we didn't even quite make it up. Even if this was going to be a bigger 3-wave ABC correction, you'd want to see us kind of reject this 1-to-1 and then really start to impulse down here. We didn't quite make it up to the 1-to-1, but we did hit our 0.9 Fibonacci, and that is technically not the most common target, but is a target for a corrective move. And we've also taken out the liquidity of the range highs, our prior range highs. And now if we start to fall and really find reacceptance back within this volume profile, I do think we will see that move down to 240 to 239 at the very least. But then we could even continue pushing down to our next support level, which let's now pull this up here. Yeah, honestly, I would say it's going to be at your value area low. Because if we lose these double POCs of the big range and the small range, we're going to continue to drop down. And we would drop down to the 786 in the value area low of our local range with the double liquidity resting down below there. You can see we have liquidity and liquidity resting right into that value area low. So that's what I'm looking at on XRP here. I do have to say, guys, the market is still very uncertain with the way that the Fed is dealing with interest rates. Jerome Powell came out today and he said that there was pretty much a 98% certainty of doing a rate cut in December. There is not going to be an FOMC meeting for November, so the next one would be in December. But he said today now that they're not even certain they're going to need to do a rate cut in December. And if there's no rate cut in December, then we could see some very bearish price action over the next couple of months if they decide to pause rates again. And if they pause it, they're not going to pause it for 1 month. They'll probably pause it for a quarter, for 3 months. And that could be a very bearish catalyst for the market. Okay, lastly, let's go on to Chainlink here. Chainlink is kind of just chopping around within our... We're rejecting from the pitchfork band. Sorry, we're within our range still. You can see we're within our range from the crash. Why I paused real quick there is because we also have this triangle we were paying attention to, and we did break out of the symmetrical triangle, and we've been bouncing from it and trying to hold it as support, even though we did see a quick drop back into POC. Overall, the triangle is trying to hold. The breakout of the triangle is trying to hold. But we're squeezing now between our pitchfork band and really the bullish back test of our triangle. And eventually one of them is going to give away, but I would say the stronger level is definitely our pitchfork band. If we cannot get back above this pitchfork band, I do think we will continue to drop here, and we will continue dropping potentially to our box of support, our 786 at the value area low. Now, with Chainlink, the POC shifted down. If I pull this back a day or two, you can see the POC was much, much higher. Let me do this, and let me just take off those rays real quick. So if you look at this volume profile, let me even hide our bigger volume profile. And we look at this volume profile since the crash ended. Even if we look at like yesterday, let's see, like right in here. Okay, where was it? When did that change? That changed, yeah, right there. So for Monday, our point of control was much higher up in the range. And now you can see that our point of control has shifted down. And that is where we bounced from on Tuesday. If we come down there again, let's just throw on that golden pocket. We are generally bouncing from our golden pocket area, but we've already now, after bouncing from that golden pocket, we made a lower high and we've come down and touched the golden pocket a second time. And so if we do come down again, I don't think that golden pocket's going to hold. I think we're going to drop to the value area low in the 786, which is also where the bottom of your pitchfork band is. So our box of support. And if that doesn't hold, unfortunately, we might be seeing that bigger drop that I talked about in yesterday's live stream. We talked about that we're forming that range that often occurs within these pitchfork bands. And if we start to lose the pitchfork band and the value area low of our local range, which is where our 786 is, we could see a harsh drop to sweep all of this liquidity, and we could come all the way down to be around $14, where our large range point of control is in confluence with the bottom of our macro pitchfork. So if I turn on that large range, you can see that point of control is coming in at like 14.3, and the bottom of your pitchfork's coming in right around $14. So that's what my concern is here with Chainlink. I mean, this does still just look like kind of a triangle developing here. And because we broke down into the triangle, we do have a slightly higher probability to break down out of the triangle. I am not considering this a bear flag or a bear pennant, though. I am considering this a continuation consolidation pattern. So our trend has been a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. This is your consolidation of the continuation of the trend. And then oftentimes you'll continue lower lows now, lower highs, lower lows. So that's what I would say for Chainlink. Now, if we can get back above the pitchfork band, you can see we flirted with it today. Let's zoom back into the hourly chart. If we can get back above that pitchfork band, I do think there is a likelihood that we are going to come take out these internal highs around 19.19, because we do have now the highs around 19.19 where the value area high is, but we also have our highs from the weekend that are right in that general area, right around the value area high. So I would say our next resistance is really going to be that general area where we have dual liquidity in confluence with the value area high of the range. And then if we look at some of our levels here, let's turn on some of our levels. Okay, we also have the weekly level down at our support box, guys. Oh, we did reject this daily today. Okay, so no real levels up there. And then let's see if we have a fresh naked daily up there. No. But yeah, the next level of support is below us at around 17.3 or 17.29, 17.25, where you can see we have our pitchfork band, our weekly level, our 786, and our value area low. If that doesn't hold, I do think we might be seeing a bigger drop all the way down to 14. And it's not going to occur right away. We'll see some bounces on internal liquidity grabs, but I don't think it's going to be a reversal. I think it would be liquidity grab, reject value area low, maybe liquidity grab, bounce up, reject the new value area low, and continue down. That is about it for today, guys. If you did get anything out of this video, please hit the like button. I will be live streaming tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you there. I hope you guys can join me. And we've been having some really great streams with a lot of live interaction and a lot of great price action and potential trades happening live during the streams. So if you'd like to join me, I really appreciate that. And I will see you tomorrow.